This time on the Driver's Corner EV, we are going to be installing the charger for the Tesla in my garage. Stay tuned. So I was an electrician's apprentice back in the early 2000s. So I'm pretty comfortable doing this job myself. What I have is the Tesla home charger. This is just one of several options you have to charge your Tesla at the house. My Tesla is not here yet, as you can see by the empty spot in the garage or under the lift, but it's supposed to be here next week. So I am going to get started on making sure that I have the ability to charge it. What I am going to be doing is placing this underneath my electrical box. I'm being super lazy because my garage is pretty small, as you can see. So the 24 foot cord going anywhere in the garage is going to be fine. The permanent home for the Tesla, during summers is going to be underneath the lift. So when I raise the car up, the Tesla fits under there. During normal operations, it is going to be right in this region here. So what I have is a 60 amp. So I elected to do a 60 amp. You have a couple different options when it comes to wiring up your charging system. I went with 60 amps so I could get the most out of it. So what I've got here is number 6. I've got that's rated for indoors. I'm not going very far. I'm only going in that little panel. Ideally, I would have done number 4 just because running 50 amps. Number 6 is acceptable, but number 4 would have been better, but I couldn't get a hold of that in a reasonable amount of time. The short run from the panel to there, I'm not even gonna have barely any loss, so there's no real issue there. But anyway, I'm not gonna film the actual process, but I'll tell you what I'm gonna be doing. So basically what I've done is I've knocked out one of these right here. So I'll run my cable up through. I'm gonna choose a set of breakers here, a set of breaker mounting landing points, and I'm gonna pop my 60 amp breaker in there. And then I'm just gonna run down to this hole at the bottom that I've drilled. Now this is insulated, so it's gonna be a bit of a pain getting the wiring through. But then that will line up with, where did I put it? This right here. So I popped out one of those with a 1-inch paddle bit, and then my feed will come in there and I'll be able to loop my wire around there. So I'm gonna get started on this and then we will see what shakes. So first step done, we've got our cables fed through. I've got some guys working in the house right now, so I can't really flip the disconnect to shut this whole thing down that I really want to do. So what I'm probably going to do is cut this off here. I'm going to work my termination points at the bottom, get this thing fully seated and mounted, and then when these guys leave for the day, I'll kill the power, I'll pop my breaker in and make my final connections. So that's what's next. So on this installation, you do not use the neutral, so I'm going to cap that with a wire nut and then I'll electrical tape that. It uses these two, line 1, line 2, and then the ground wire. I would have preferred if this was shielded, but nothing else in the panel is, so I'm not too concerned about that, but I will land that on one of these grounding bars. So I'm going to go ahead, now that I've got this pretty much where I feel like I'm happy with the location, before I start landing all these wires on this side, I am going to mount the box to the wall. So here we go. So in the box that you get from Tesla, it comes with some instructions, including where to mount, like where to put your mounts. Now the instructions actually tell you to find a stud, which in my mounting location, there aren't any studs between here and here, so I'm not mounting it off to this side because of my extinguisher. My toolbox is over here, so I'm putting it in the center. And what I'm gonna do in order to get this thing heavy on the wall. I've got these 75-pound anchors. And so I'm gonna mount it on these anchors, and the hope will be that these are gonna be strong enough. I've used them for all kinds of crazy things, so I don't think that a cable hanging off of that is gonna be that big a deal. So I'm gonna go ahead and install these, and we'll go from there. So I've got a zip tie here. That way, once I route my cabling through, I'll keep everything neat and tidy, but I'm gonna go ahead and start routing these wires to the termination blocks. All right, so what we've got here is my wires are terminated into the blocks. I've got my unneeded neutral just taped off. I guess that can end up being a spare someday if I need it to be. But yeah, so that's all good. I've got it coming through into the box here. I still have guys working at the house, so I am just going to route this to where I'm gonna land it, and then I'll go ahead and cut it, and then just be in prep, be ready for those guys to finish up in the house so I can kill the power to the panel for a minute. And then that is really all there is to it. So once I get this landed and placed where I'm gonna put it, I'll be back. Right, so still waiting on that other end for those guys to be done so I can shut the power off. This box right here came with the hardware that I'm gonna need to connect the personal charger there. So pretty simple. So it's pressed on. We have four bolts to put in there, and then that'll be secured. Classy. All right, so I got impatient. They're not done working in the house yet, so I just worked it hot. What I did is I slid my my breaker in, made sure it was in the off position, and then fed my feeds in through that. So there's that neutral that we didn't need. I don't typically like doing this where I leave something in the panel, but I don't really feel comfortable terminating it either. On the bus bar, there's no real reason to do that. So other than cutting it off here, I've got it taped off inside the charger itself. But if I did everything right, let's see. I'm gonna go ahead and flip this, and hopefully I didn't do something wrong. It's been a long time since I've done electrical work. Early 2000s was when I was in the union, but I did wire up my hot tub as well. All right. Green light, I'm assuming that means good. I still don't have my car. Oh, it's doing something else. Don't know what that means, but we'll look up the instructions and see what's going on with that. I'm gonna try to hook this up to my Wi-Fi as well, because this is a Gen 3 charger, so it should connect and I can see what's going on through the app. But I'm gonna go ahead and put the panel back together, and I think we'll call this project done. All right, so following a guide online on Tesla's website, I got this thing connected to the Wi-Fi network. So it looks like everything is set up properly. I don't have any warning lights or anything, no codes. So as soon as my 2022 Performance Model 3 arrives, I am set up to charge on the Tesla home charger. Very easy project because my panel is literally 8 inches from the base there. So now I just got to clean up my mess. As always, I appreciate you guys tuning in. I cannot wait for my car to get here. It has been a long road. I ordered back in March and it still has not arrived. So I've got my date of September 2nd, and then that's going to start a whole nother series for me. If you found me through looking for Tesla content, I have started this channel, The Driver's Corner EV, simply for my Tesla. I do have another channel related to all my other ICE engines and anything that I have that's related to that. So if you're interested, please go over to the Driver's Corner and subscribe to that as well. I am going to be simply putting Tesla content up on this channel. So if that's what you're interested in on the Driver's Corner EV, you will get 100% Tesla content. Again, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you in the next video.